Hello. Good morning and welcome. You are on the mountain with Rick and MrLT15, Carlos himself from Nifty Kicks, and it is time to go off the cuff. But first, coffee. How do you take your coffee, Carlos?
Oh man, people make fun of me. I normally just put some creamer on there, no sugar right now. I'm trying to stay away from sugar, man. I'm getting older, so I'm what is it? I'm not a full diabetic, but I'm getting there. So I'm trying to cut sugar. So right now I'm trying to drink black,
Definitely a good
what they
thing to
call it
keep
at
track
Starbucks.
of.
Flat white.
I'm a
What's
big
that?
fan of black coffee myself. Basically, as
Nice,
long as it's hot.
very
I
nice,
mean,
very nice.
I don't need any
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah,
cream or anything like that. I will
yeah.
use them sometimes. Like right now, we got a bottle of sweet cream in the fridge, and man, that stuff's addictive. That is the best of the flavored creamers, in my opinion.
I bet, man. I bet. Well, I'm used to drinking coffee with just cocoa on there, man. When I was in the Marines and we're in the field and we're cold, and the guys, that work in the mess hall came by with like a thing of coffee. I got that cocoa from the MRE and put that cocoa in the coffee, and that's kind of how I used to drink coffee, man. To
Oh
be
yeah,
honest with you.
oh yeah, or the
Yeah,
cowboy
that was
pudding
like
where you
that was
just
like
take the
that
instant
made my
coffee
day.
from the MRE with the cocoa powder, mix them
Yep,
together, put in a
yep,
little sugar,
yep,
put in a little
yep,
cream, and then just a little
yep.
tiny dip of water, and then stir. Damn, making
Oh
me
yeah,
miss Iraq.
oh yeah. That thing, dude, I know that made our days, man. The little things that people like don't realize that for us in the field, man, it made our day for sure.
Right, and those
So are you
cute
are
little
you a
fucking
former
Tabasco
are you
sauce
a former
bottles.
military too?
Yeah, I'm also a Marine.
Oh, nice, nice. So you're a Marine too, Semper Fi. I didn't know that.
Hoorah.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
Kevin had kind of mentioned it that you were, but I had kind of forgotten about it too because we were all talking about Nifty Kicks and whatnot. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
fellow
yeah.
fellow
That's
Devil
awesome.
Dogs,
That is
hoorah!
awesome. Hoorah.
Yeah, so nowadays I'm mostly like I'll do a little bit of the flavored creamers every once in a while. I don't really do like just cream or just milk, whatever. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I don't need to cool it down. It's just flavor thing. But the most important thing is not what's in the coffee. The most important thing is that there is coffee.
That is very true. That is very true. That is very true.
So, what was the first game that you ever fell in love with?
Oh man, Command and Conquer.
That's a strong
Actually,
answer, but
actually,
it
let
is
me take it.
incomplete.
Let me take it a step back. Mech Warrior. When I was in high school, my cousin Marco and I, which is his tag name is Shaman NY. Man, I didn't have a computer, so his family was a little bit more well off, than my dad was. So I didn't have a computer. So man, we used to hang out every weekend, and we used to fall asleep in this little closet, right, walk-in closet that was like a makeshift office. And we'll play Mech Warrior, man, all weekend long. And we'll fall asleep on the floor. We'll take turns playing Mech Warrior. But after that, man, I got big into Command and Conquer, uh, a, um, uh, Ages of Empires. I mean, but Command and Conquer, I will say that was probably after Mech Warrior, probably, but was my favorite game.
Gotcha. Which Command and Conquer?
I played all of them, but obviously the original was my favorite. And then after the original, Red Alert was pretty good. But at the last one I played was Command and Conquer Generals. But obviously the graphics, are more advanced graphics now and a little
Oh
bit
yeah,
different. But
it's a world of difference in the graphics. Jesus
oh yeah,
Christ.
oh yeah. But you know what? A lot of those games, man, they're remastered in Steam. So I've been playing some of those old games, on Steam because they've been remastered and stuff like that. So I'm a gamer at heart still, man. I play my share of games. I got the PS5, I got the Nintendo Switch. I mean, I'm a big time gamer for sure.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. What got you into? Because obviously Nifty Kicks, as we were talking about a little bit before we went live, is a project that is based on shoes and the sneakerhead lifestyle, which is something I'll be honest. I enjoy nice shoes, but I'm not a sneakerhead. No judgment or anything like that. It's just a totally
No, no,
different.
no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So what got me into that, into Nifty Kicks, I was planning to, man. I used to be big into that, into the sneakerhead. Huge sneakerhead. I don't wear, Jordans that often anymore. Well, one, basically because my son, my two kids, my son and my stepson, pretty much took all my kicks. But mostly because, I'm at an age now, 45, that I don't often wear Jordans. Normally, if I wear a pair of Jordans, I wear Jordans when I go to like a basketball game, a football game, baseball game, because I try to match my jersey, to one of the Jordans. So I still have a lot of kicks that I match with my jerseys when I go to a game. But for the most part, I don't wear Jordans anymore. But what got this game going was, just a conversation with my cousin Marco again. We're talking about sneakers and things like that, and both him, myself, and my two brothers, and my sister, we all kind of sneakerheads. Well, my brothers and sisters, they're still are. I'm not so much anymore. But anyways, what got us into the game, we started like an art project, right? We talked about how hard it was becoming to get a pair of shoes when the shoes drop, right? It's almost like NFTs, right? Like when NFTs, a year ago or 2 years ago, where a drop sold out within 2 seconds, right? And it was the same thing for shoes. You show up to I give you a long story short. I show up to a Foot Locker. I try to buy a pair of kicks. I remember it was the Flint 13s. I think I was trying to buy. They sold out within like 5 minutes, and I was still outside the store. And one of the guys come out in their little shirts at the mall and say, "Hey, we're sold out." So as I was leaving the mall, I think I was telling you, I was trying to take a shortcut to go back home, and I'm going to the back of the mall, and it's the back. That's one of those mall centers. There's an outdoor mall. It's like almost like an outlet mall. And as I was driving to the back, I see a U-Haul truck right behind the Foot Locker, and they're selling the shoes outside the truck, right from the truck, pretty much. So they told everybody in the store that they were sold out, but they were still selling the shoes from the back of the truck in the back of the store. And I rolled down my window. I was like, "Hey man," I was like, "Is this for real?" They're like, "It sure is. You have $1,000, mind you. Those shoes were like 180, right? A drop price." But they were selling it for $1,000. So of course, me being a sneakerhead, I still got those pair of shoes. Actually, I still got 13s. I got out of the car, boom, used my credit card, and this guy had like a Cash App or I forget what it's called. It's like a little Q box or something that he had. He swiped my credit card, $1,000 went away, and I got my size 10, Flint 13s, right? So as we started developing this app about sneakerheads, our idea was to actually kind of hit the sneakerheads community, but not a lot of people that are sneakerheads are into wax, right, or crypto. So that was a little bit of a curve right there. There's a huge community on Discord for sneakerheads, and I was trying, not anymore. I was trying my hardest to like break into that community, but I kind of got shunned away, and they actually blocked me. And because I wasn't even posting stuff, I was trying to reach out to the admins, right, and they pretty much told me to pretty much pound sand, right? Like we Marines say, "Hey, you need to go pound sand." So they told me to pound sand, so I abandoned that. But then I started developing the game based on that experience that I had, right? Selling shoes from the back of the truck. So we evolved an art collection. I created a new collection because at the beginning it was called Nifty Kicks. And then obviously I had to create a new collection because I was going to gamify, right? Atomic Hub said you got to create a new collection and apply for whitelisting as a game, not as an art project. So I had to create a new website, new everything. We call it Nifty Kicks Factory, right? And the collection name Nifty Kicks IO. So we had to do all the transfer, man. It was tedious. I mean, my community manager Franklin was there from the beginning. We had to transfer all the NFTs from the alt collection via NFT swaps, and like we actually did. Everybody had to trade them in to the new collection, man. That was actually some rough times. But the game developed based on that idea, man. I saw the sneakers being sold from behind a truck. So I said, hey, why don't we create a game where, you have to deliver kicks, in a truck, and you have to protect that convoy. Because I saw on some news feeds that there were some of these hubs that actually people were actually finding out when the shoes were shipping out from Nike, and they were actually robbing not post offices, but like kind of distribution centers, right? They were getting robbed because they knew the shoes were coming that day, so they were going in there and stealing all the shoe boxes, and then just stealing all the shoes from these hubs, these distribution places, right? So that's kind of how the idea came about the game. Initially, honestly, my vision of the game was not translated as I wanted it to initially on my notes, and we were actually crafting the shoes. with the changes that we're making to the game is going back to that initial idea that I had, that in order for you to get a pair of kicks, you have to make a successful delivery in game for you to be able to get those kicks and stake them into the game, right? So that's kind of one of the reasons why we make a lot of changes to the game. That and kind of what we talked about offline, that the health of the token and the game mechanics was now where I wanted it to be. So I wanted to make it better for the community.
Absolutely, and that's just like probably a stroke of genius to do tap into the sneakerhead niche with the crypto crossover, and that's brilliant. I love it. So the gameplay is you were talking about a little bit. So basically, I have to make a delivery for someone else's shoes, and then I would earn a pair of the same shoes myself, and then
okay, I'll let you finish and then I'll explain it.
And then I would like stake. What is your staking system kind of like? Because I don't really grok that.
Yeah. So right as of right now, and again, these are changes that we're making as of right now. When the game first launched, the way the staking game was, you stake a factory building, right, where the shoes are made, right? You had a factory building that produced the NKFE, which is the energy. You had 3 machines. One machine produced leather, the other machine produced textile, and the other machine produced rubber, right? Pretty much 3 basic ingredients that you actually need to make a shoe, right? To make a sneaker, right? So that's kind of was the idea of the game. That was going okay. But one thing I noticed is that the NKFE was being overproduced. And honestly, there wasn't a FOMO factor to the game, right? There was no really... not really a drive to actually make deliveries to via the convoy, because we were allowing folks to actually craft the kicks, right? So if you had to craft the kicks, then what's the point of making a delivery? So that's one of the reasons why we're now making the changes. So the way the staking system is now is you still got the factory, right? But instead of the factory producing the energy, right, the NKFE, the way it works is that the factory just pretty much houses your machines, right? And the factories, depending on your level, your factory, you're going to be able to stake more machines. So, for example, a level 1 factory can only stake a level 1 machine, right? But there's going to be 9 levels of factories. So, as you get up to level 9, you'll be able to stake 6 of these machines, which we introduced another machine to plastic, right? Because there's also plastic in the kicks, and we're also going to use plastic for something else that we'll talk about a little later. But that's the staking game, right? You got your factory. You got your machines, you got laborers, right, that you need to run your machines. And then when you make a delivery, right, so let's say, for example, I'll give you the example of Island 1. Island 1, we consider the easy island, right? So you got easy, medium, hard, and heroic, right? So Island 1, you could send 1 or 2 crates. If you make a successful delivery, then based on those 2 crates, if let's say you send 2 crates, you get 2 reward crates back. And those reward crates guarantee you at least you're going to get a shoe, right? Obviously, RNG is going to go from legendary down to common, and then you might be lucky enough to get a ticket there so you could blend for mythic shoes, right? We only have 24 shoes in circulation right now, and we went ahead and created 24 101s mythic, and those are going to be very, very hard to get. I created like a 5,000 pre-minted packs, pre-minted boxes. And in those 5,000 boxes, essentially, there's only 24 mythic kicks, right? So the RNG is pre-minted, so eventually they're gonna come out, right? So that's gonna be the kind of like the staking game right now. You got to make deliveries, you get the kicks, you stake them in game. And the beautiful thing about the kicks now is the actual sneakers are the only NFT that produce the NKFE, which is the token that is being traded in Core Exchange, right? So now the kicks became that much valuable, because at the end of the day, in the sneakerhead world, that is the value, the sneakers, right? You can have a sneaker that drops today for $180, but a month from now, those shoes are worth about $5,000 because of the supply and demand, right? So I wanted to have the same concept in the game, that everything is about the sneaker, and the sneaker is what drives the economy of the game. It's what drives, the token. It's what drives, the demand and the supply. And it pretty much everything in the game now revolves about, getting the shoes. And in order for you to get those shoes, you got to send out a convoy.
Gotcha.
And you got to make it
are the delivery. Shoes recreations of real world shoes, or are they all your own separate designs?
No, we haven't gotten there yet. I've been talking to a supplier in Mexico. I kind of had already somebody set up in China, but to be honest with you, and please, everybody don't take this the wrong way. Because everything that's going on in the tension with the U.S. and being a Marine, I didn't want to deal with China, so I kind of put that to the side. And I'm actually in talks right now with like a manufacturing plant down in Mexico. Eventually, I want to design our own Nifty Kicks shoes. But right now, the 24 Kicks collection that we have in game are pretty much art rendition from real sneakers that my daughter actually drew. You know how the whitelisting process, I had to submit her digital drawing of all the sneakers and stuff like that for them to actually whitelist us, over a year ago, but a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. So they're all art rendition, excuse me, of the real sneakers, right? So we just didn't use logos. We couldn't use logos. That was one of the requirements from Atomic Hub, which I don't know. I've seen some shoes in Atomic Hub that have logos, but for us, the requirement was that we couldn't use any logos on the shoes, and I couldn't call any shoes their real name. So I couldn't say these are the Jordan ones, but I could call them Chicago ones, right? But I couldn't call them Jordans, right? Or Nike this. I couldn't use the Nike names, the Yeezy, and things like that, but I could use the shoe without logos. So that was part of the requirement, because when she first did all the art, we did have logo in the shoes, and I had to go back to the drawing board, had her redraw all the shoes all over again without the logos and the names. So that was pretty tedious work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's your coolest shoe?
Honestly, man, for me, I have three favorite shoes that I have, three Jordans. I can pick between the three: the Flint 13s, the 12 reverse taxi, and the 14s, the last shot. Those are my favorite three shoes.
I've heard you say Flynn 13s earlier, because when you were talking about that story with the U-Haul behind the shop, but other than that, I don't know any of them.
Yeah, I'm traveling for work right now, so I don't have any kicks with me. I know when I did a stream with Creati from Nova Pangea, he made me display, one of my favorite shoes. So I displayed the reverse taxes behind me on the stream. So because I think he's also a sneakerhead, so he likes sneakers a lot too. So, but yeah, the Flint 13s are probably my favorite shoes. It's just because I'm a Yankees fan. I'm originally from New York, so the Flint 13s that I have, that kind of have that kind of that bluish, color that kind of matches with the Yankees jersey. So that's probably why they're my favorite, man. And I'm a Bills fan too, so they also match with a white Buffalo Bills jersey. So that's probably why they're my favorite shoes, because I could definitely interchange, my two favorite teams jerseys with those shoes. So that's probably why. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I like the color.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm a Yankees man myself. My dad raised me a Yankees fan. I was a Yankees fan before I was a baseball fan. Even though I remember watching the Blue Jays win in the Skydome in 91 and 92.
Nice.
That was forever ago. And that's why I could never cheer for the Braves or the Phillies. I'm sorry, if you lost the World Series to the Blue Jays,
yeah,
you might as well just go ahead and move the team somewhere else.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
That is a massive fucking watch. Oh my god. Oh, and that's your logo on there too. That's dope.
Yeah. I put the Nifty Kicks logo. That's just that was a birthday gift from my fiance. So that's the new Apple Watch, and I put my logo in there, man. That's pretty cool.
I actually have my old On the Mountain logo is the one that I use for the back on mine as well. But I use the kaleidoscope function, so like every time I look at it, it's actually different, because it's like just a different kind of reflection of things. But it's pretty dope. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I would say that it got me in trouble, because she's like, "Oh, so you have a picture of your logo in there, but you don't have a picture of me." I was like, "Hey, I got to advertise, and that's
I'm not advertising you for sale."
Nah, it looks pretty cool. A lot of people do ask me when they see it, like, what? What is that? So it opens up the conversation. As a matter of fact, I was just on a flight last week, because I was in Orlando, and when I was on the airport, somebody heard me talking on the phone with my community manager with Franklin, and he's like, "Hey, what was that you talking about?" And I saw you playing a game on the computer, man. What was the game about? I was like, "Well, I was playing two games. I was playing Nifty Kicks, which is my game, and I was playing Nova Pangea, which is also a pretty cool game that I play." So that sparked the conversation, and he actually, before we left the conversation, he had a wax wallet created, so that was pretty cool. So it does sparks conversation here and there, so pretty awesome.
Hell yeah, that's the good form. Just getting out there doing your thing and having people notice, not being obtrusive and getting all up in people's shit. So when were you in and what did you do?
Oh man, I was in from 94 to 2017. I did several jobs in the Marines, 03, 39, got out, came back in 3381. They went back into the infantry, and then when I retired as a first sergeant. So actually I was the ITB when I retired. I was in the Infantry Training Battalion West in Camp Pendleton, and I was obviously you're Marines, the first sergeant, MOS 8999. So I was a first sergeant. I was actually selected to be a sergeant major, but you know how it is. You got to move every 2-3 years, right? So I had orders to go from California to Hawaii, which I was looking forward to. But at the time, my son was a junior in high school, and he was in the football team, basketball team, and he's like, "Pops, I've been moving all this time. I don't want to move anymore. I want to finish high school here." So, like a good Marine, good first sergeant, I say, "Hey, if I cannot take my orders, guess what I have to do? I have to retire." So I put in my retirement, and I retired out of Camp Pendleton there in California. And then, man, by the time my terminal leave was up, I already had a job, and it was great, man. I don't regret it. I don't think I was prepared for it, but I don't regret making that decision, man, because it got me to where I am today. So it's always good when you can look back and say, you know what, even though I wasn't ready to make that decision, it was the best decision that I made. You know what I mean? So it's a good thing, man. Good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like you, man. Yeah, exactly. And just like you, man, I'm not gonna lie, I was tired a little bit. I mean, 9 combat tours. I mean, to Iraq and Afghanistan, and to be honest with you, just the seeing the new generation coming in to the Marines, allowing them to quit and stuff like that. It kind of like, I think it was the right time, man. It was the right time to say, you know what, I've done my time. I served my country. It's time for me to put my family first. So that's kind of what I did, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was I was actually the first class of boot camp out of Paris Island to receive digital camis.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So okay, so to put into perspective, man, when the digital cameras came out, I was a sergeant in Okinawa on a UDP deployment to Okinawa, Japan. Yeah, and I remember I was one of those Marines that first got to wear the DJs because we were going through the new MacMap program. I was becoming a martial arts instructor at the time, and because we were teaching, they were teaching us the martial arts, and martial arts was getting big in the Marine Corps at the time, right? They actually allow us to get digital camis so they could film us, doing the martial arts program, the training there. And I was actually lucky enough to be one of the first ones to get the new digital camis for sure. That was pretty awesome. So you were one of the first Marines to graduate digital camis. That's crazy. Yeah, I was in Okinawa, Japan at the time.
And Oki was my first stop after all of the training and whatnot. I was in.
Oh, nice. What MOS did you do?
I was a driver.
Okay, so you were see, okay, nice. So yeah, that's cool, man. Because one of the guys in the team that we have, Scott, he goes by the name Mountain Biker. He's also a Marine, and when we started redesigning the game and calling things differently, he was like, "Hey, why don't we call instead of calling the vehicle bay, why don't we call it the motor pool?" Right? You could relate to that. You're a Marine. I'm like, you know what? Let's call it the motor pool. So it's funny. So our military base NFT that we're going to be releasing here in the next couple of weeks, as you level it up, you got to open up different bays on it, and one of them is to train, your troops and your drivers, and then the other one is to open up the motor pool, right? And we're redesigning the game map where it's going to be with buildings on there, and the buildings are either going to be transparent. We haven't decided yet whether they're going to be transparent on the map until you actually gain that NFT or you upgrade to that, or we're just going to have kind of the foundation on there. But long story short, the building that's going to house the vehicles, that's what we're calling it. We're calling it the motor pool now. Nice. And that was actually Scott's idea. He's the one that that's doing all the lore for the for Nifty Kicks, the Nifty Chronicles as we call them, and he's a great guy, man. Also a Marine as well. So yep. So you relate to that, man. Being Moto T, you know that's what we call it, the motor pool for sure.
Oh yeah, fucking. I
Right.
was actually telling my lady a story about how like over there in Oki, I'm sure you saw it too, but like when I landed on the island, we had an old ass busted down fucking asbestos warnings everywhere in our fucking motor pool, and across the
Yeah,
street,
yeah, we did.
across the street was just fucking bare dirt and gravel. And within like 3 months of me moving, or of me getting there, we were fully moved into our new like $500,000 fucking motor pool on the other side of the street. It was like, goddamn, I've never seen a building go up that fast.
No, you're right, man. And the way they do work out there in the streets, man, normally you see no constructions on the road in Japan because they get there like nighttime and they're out of there before like sunrise. I mean, the way they work out there in Japan, man, is crazy. But you're right, man. I remember those signs, the asbestos, and like you saw the chain chipping from the wall, and you have signs that says "Do not touch." You know, it's funny you say that. That happened in the States, man. That would have been a lawsuit. But it's funny, that is true. All the buildings in Oki, man, they were pretty old, man. Really old.
Fucking ridiculous.
Really old.
What was
really
your
old.
favorite duty station?
Oh man. Oh Jesus. Yeah, duty station is one thing. I want to say California. I mean, Camp Pendleton, but I mean, favorite country I visited was probably Rota, Spain. But probably favorite duty station is California, just because there was so much to do, man. When I was stationed in Camp Lejeune, with 2-2, I mean, there's nothing to do in Camp Lejeune, man. Jacksonville, I mean, it's Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville, North Carolina. No disrespect.
Jacksonville
Anybody
is Jacksonville. True
Yeah,
statement.
no disrespect intended to anybody on the stream, on the listeners that are from North Carolina, but Jacksonville is not the place to be. So when I got stationed in Camp Pendleton, man, it was great because downtown San Diego's right there, man. We did a lot of activities in downtown San Diego. So pre-deployment, post-deployment, just partying it up. So I want to say California, Camp Pendleton was probably my favorite duty station.
Cool. I never actually got to experience being stationed in Cali. We did some pre-combat training out there and whatnot.
Yeah, you probably came to CAX, right? Combined Arms Exercise in California, probably.
No, mostly like
29
driver training and whatnot.
Okay,
NVGs, shit like that, getting prepared to drive, blackout. That was where I got driven off a mountain, fell 40 feet, and got caught by a tree.
Jesus, wow.
Some people
That's
just
crazy.
cannot drive with NVGs on.
Yeah.
That
It's not. It's
tunnel
not
vision
easy.
is a bitch.
not easy.
Honestly, I'm one of those that cannot drive with NVGs on, but I have very, very good low light vision. So
Yeah,
I
but
just
even shooting is difficult. People see it in the movies; they think that it's that easy. It's not, man, because you got to get accustomed to that. That's why we train so much with MVGs for night combat. Because if you're not used to them, it could throw your entire mindset off, man, and you're in trouble. Oh yeah.
The worst part wasn't even like firefights and whatnot. It was army convoys coming the other direction.
Well, yeah. That is true. That is very true. That is
Just
very
like pull off, wait, let them fucking pass because there is no light discipline with that crew and nobody can see
Nope.
a goddamn thing.
Yeah. It sucks. I know. Trust me. I got stationed in Fort Lee, Virginia, when I was a staff sergeant, as a platoon sergeant there for some of the schools they had there, man. And it was crazy. Just not again. I don't want to talk about the army. We all fight for the same country, but it was just funny the way they exercise and they have buses for like safety vehicles because everybody's running towards the buses while the Marines are still running towards the PFT turnaround point. So it's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Hey, at least it's not Air Force with a bike for their PFT though, right?
That's true. I mean, we can see her back about every other branch of service. I'm sure they do the same thing about us. I had I'm a current job right now. We just hired a gal that she was in the army, and man, I tell you, I liked it from the get go because during the interview, my boss asked her, she's like, "Do you have any questions for Carlo?" Oh no, not for Carlo. He said, "Let me throw you a question of the cuff right here." She's like, "What is?" He's like, "What is your favorite crayon color?" She's like, my favorite crayon colors, whatever color Carlos doesn't eat, because they call us crayon eaters sometimes, right? For the Marines, and I was like, were you in the army? She's like, yeah. It's like, okay, you're ready to be a Marine. Yeah, you know that's what Army stands for, right? So I liked her. I told my boss we gotta hire this girl because just for the fact that her attitude and the way that she just came off like that, I'm like, man, she's gonna be a good fit to the team. So yeah, we talk smack about each other all the time, and that's just so people know that we're not just talking trash about the Army. They do the same about us too.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and also
Yeah,
for those
we give
who
each other shit.
aren't part of that military brotherhood, like we all
Yeah, for sure.
give each other shit. We all talk bad shit about each other, but it's all just good-natured ribbing because we all love each other. We're all on the same side and whatnot. And then one of you dirty fucking civilians starts to pop off, and you're gonna see exactly how united we fucking are.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. That is very true right there. Very, very true.
So, what is your vision for the future of Nifty Kicks? Because obviously, you mentioned that you're working on implementing that base NFT, which that sounds pretty freaking cool. Are you gonna be obviously over time adding more and more sneakers? Because that's definitely the basis of the project.
No, absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
What kind of functionality are you looking to add in, and what is the use point or use case for the KBE token? You said it was
NKFE. Yep.
NKFE. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, those are great questions. So yes, I've talked to the development team. So right now, I told you we have 24 kicks in circulation. So one of the things that we're going to do is, and of course, I mean, like even the changes we're trying to implement now, you and I were talking about. There's some folks in the server that are not happy with the changes, and that's understandable, man. You're not going to please everybody in this space. I've learned that. I guess the hard way. Because I'm a people's pleaser, man. I always trying to make sure that everybody's taken care of. That's just in my nature, and I guess it's just from the Marines, right? Making sure that my Marines were always taken care of. So that's been something that's ingrained in me. But my community manager keeps me grounded, and to say, hey, Carlos, you're not going to please everybody. At the end of the day, if every change that we're making it for the project longevity, and so that the project can be successful, then that's fine, man. Whatever we're doing is fine. So with that question as to what is the my vision for the future, there's a lot of visions. So, but I'll touch on two near future visions that we have right now, and then I'll touch on one that's going to be coming up either next quarter or probably towards the first quarter of 24. Right. So first of all, the shoes, as we all know it, real shoes got wear. They go through wear and tear, right? Yeah. So those shoes eventually are gonna, we're gonna have a wear and tear type of thing, right? So with this iteration of shoes that we currently have, in order for me to accomplish this vision, we will have to swap all the other kicks. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna probably grandfather this set of kicks to always produce the amount of tokens that they're producing, right? But later iterations of shoes, we're gonna obviously have the mutable attribute for the images, and as the kicks age over a 6 months period, every month those images are gonna look a little bit more wear and tear. What is that gonna do to the shoes and to the NFTs? Well, at a 6 months period, we're gonna throw out probably a new series of shoes, and the shoes that have already getting that wear and tear over a 6 months period, that is gonna the productivity of those shoes in NKFE is going to diminish by 25%, right? Then we're going to throw our new set of shoes, new set of kicks, a new series that are going to produce at 100%. After this series 2 gets to 6 months, they're going to lose 25% productivity. The shoes that were already wear and tear for a year are going to go down to 50% production. If you ask me what is that going to do to the economy, well, it creates an economy that you're not always overproducing the token, right? It's going to kind of cut back the production a little bit as we go along, but also with those kicks, as soon as the project becomes, and when I use the word profitable, I'm not talking about profit that I'm taking money. This whole entire project has been funded by my own pocket. My cousin and my brother started initially, but then they abandoned the project, and it's been just all on me. So I'm not looking for profit to to take money and put in my pocket. When I call it, I see the game profitable, it's when the community is being profitable and the project is self-sustaining, meaning that maybe at that point I'm not taking money out of my pocket to pay for development, marketing and things like that. Again, the game is self-sustained in that aspect, right? I will consider that being a profitable project. I honestly want to start giving out kicks. I even thought about giving out some of the kicks in my own collection, just because the way I maintain my kicks, they're in pretty mint condition, man. I don't really wear my shoes all the time. I think I mentioned I wear them for games here and there. The only reason why I haven't done that is because not everybody wears size 10s, right? So I am in talks with StockX right now and Go, where I want them to almost guarantee me a certain amount of shoes when we get to that point where I can actually say, okay, this month we're going to give a giveaway to those that make the most deliveries, right? And you have to deliver this specific shoe and this amount of those shoes in order for you to, gain in real life redeemable kick, right? That's one of the visions that I have with the kicks. Another partnership that I'm working on is with, you could go to niftykicksfactory.com. It's no kidding, a Nifty Kicks Factory. It's like this distributor that distributes all kinds of kicks, right? So we're going to probably put a link to their website on our landing page. They're going to do the same on their end. And depending on the volume that we generate from Nifty Kicks UI to their website, they might start giving us some kickbacks, right? In the form of shoes or in the form of, money, right?
Yuck.
So I think that'll be great for the community. You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that I'm envisioning happening here in the next quarter or two. Another thing that I'm in development right now with my cousin behind closed door that I haven't even talked to a lot of people yet. I think I mentioned that briefly on one of the streams that I had with Franklin, is that we're going to create another game, but that game, we might have a drop of maybe just the basic NFTs of that game, but all the parts, and I don't want to say it. I might have hinted a little bit when you asked me about what are my favorite games, but it's going to be a game themed like that. But everything is going to have to be created with Nifty Kick, with NKFE. So that's going to give our token even more use case, because it's going to be a completely new game where you're going to have to craft and you're going to have to use NKFE as the source token for this new game. If that makes sense. So we're working on a lot of things, man, to actually expand this. But before we did all of that, I had to make sure that the game was smooth. We were full of bugs. I'm not going to lie. I've always been a straight shooter. It was full of bugs. My old dev team, I'm not going to say they did a horrible job. They got me to where they got me, right? And after that, I think our game, let me put it this way, I think the game and my vision outgrew their capabilities. Now I'm with a development team that I know are going to take us beyond my vision, and they're capable of doing absolutely everything I've asked of them to do. And I think they're going to take the game to where I want it to be. So once we make these changes, dude, the sky's the limit for us. There's a lot of good things coming to the community, a lot of good things coming to the project. And I think that my goal is to be one of the top 10 games in Wax. That's my goal. And I'm not gonna stop until I achieve that goal. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. And yeah, that definitely sounds very exciting. The one thing that kind of sticks out at me is, and I totally understand where you were coming from with the idea of the wear and tear on the shoes, but maybe rather than have it be strictly calendar linked and time based, have it usage based. Because I mean, if you got a pair of kicks from 20 years ago,
I'm taking notes.
If you got a pair of kicks from 20 years ago that have never come out of the box, they're still going to be in mint, regardless of how old they are.
You're right, because I mean those Flint 13s that I told you, man. I've had those shoes for what, about 3-4 years right now, and they still look brand new. I take care of them. You know what I mean? So you're right. So user base for wear and tear. So what you're saying is, if I have a NFT that I don't stake, and it should be depending on the amount of tokens that they're mine. That's gonna determine the wear and tear. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, something along those lines, rather than just time based. Because I love the idea you're getting at, but I do feel like that would be a more accurate mechanic.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I love it, man. I love it. I made a note of that. I love it because it makes it more realistic, right? So if I have a mythic NFT, right, and I never stake it because I don't want it to get that wear and tear, then that NFT should never change. I get it.
Exactly.
I get it.
And then you got everybody else who has those same NFTs that are using them because they want to get that additional profit. That's just driving up the scarcity of yours.
No, I love it, man. I love it. That is a great idea, man. That is a great idea. That is a great idea, and you will definitely see that implemented, man. That's awesome. That is a great idea. I like it. I like it.
And so, like, for somebody in the audience who is not already familiar with Nifty Kicks, or for myself, how would I go about getting started today?
Okay, so I'll be straight up with you right now. Probably not the best time to get started, and the reason for that is because all the changes that we're making, and I think that's what's driving a little bit of confusion in the server right now, and a little bit of discontent. But I'll be honest with you, there's some people that just joined this week, and they're loving it. They know that the changes that are coming are good for the game. So let me give you an example. If you were to get into the game right now, and I know probably my community is like, you can't say that, that's driving people away. Not necessarily. I just want to make sure that I am clear with the message that I'm delivering, right? So right now, what do you need to get started in the game? You need some factories and you need some machines. The factories and machines are going to produce the tokens that you actually need to actually get the convoy going and start delivering those kicks, right? Obviously, you're going to need to, like, the vehicles, the troops, the commanders. So there's several NFTs that you need. The reason why I said if I was coming in new, probably wait, is because it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, right? Some people in the server right now are saying, well, this NFT that I just bought a week ago no longer holds a value. That is not the case. That is not true. What we're doing with this new reinvent and we're mechanizing the game, right? New mechanics is, to give you an example. If I right now have a factory, we're going to have a blend on the actual UI that you could blend your old factory that you currently have for the new factory that's going to have a new use case, right? So it doesn't mean that your current NFTs are not usable, or they're going to be, not valuable. They are going to be. We're just having you blend those NFTs for a new NFT template, because that new NFT template was going to actually be used in the new smart contract, if that makes sense. So every single NFT that we have is going to have a use case. Another great example. In the past, in order for you to, like, not claim every 2 hours, you needed to have different, what we call warehouse badges, right? So what this warehouse badges, what the intent behind the badges is that you were creating more space in your warehouse with those badges to be able to kind of save your claims, right? So I'll give an example, like the green badges, you could claim every 4 hours instead of every 2 hours. So in essence, that badge was storing one claim for you, right? The red one was every 6 hours. The yellow one was every 8 hours, right? And then we developed two more, which was 8 and 12 hours. So because now we're making it that, hey, you get 24 hours of mining and you claim once a day and it resets 2,400 UTC, everybody, so what are we doing with the badges? I'm like, great question. In order for you to level up your machines and your buildings, the badges are going to be part of the recipe that you need to have in there to be able to level up your building. So for example, to go from level 1 factory building to level 2, you need 3 green badges, right? Plus the NKFE fee and the other resources in the game to be able to level up to level 2. So the badges are not only going to have a use case, but I think now they're going to be more high demand than before, because once you have one badge staked to your token, you don't need any more badges, right? But now, because the badges are needed for incrementally upgrade your machines and your factories, now the supply of the badges are not even enough, in my opinion, to level up the building. So what is that going to do? That's going to create a demand for the badges. And what is the only way to get badges? By you crafting them in your factories and you putting them on secondary. So to me, that's giving the badges an even better use case. And now their value is going to be higher. People are going to be able to buy them off secondary. I'm not dropping badges. The users are creating the badges in their factories, and they're either using them for the upgrades, or they're selling in the secondary for somebody else to use for an upgrade. So again, we are giving every single NFT that we have in the game a use case, and in my opinion, a better use case than before, because again, we're looking for making the game a lot more simplified than it was before. I'll be honest with you, it was almost like you had to read an entire 30-page book to send a comment in the past. And I'm being honest, it is what it is. We were trying to get too intricate with the game, where based on the developers, ideas and their recommendation, they're like, hey, simple is better. Right now, people are setting up a convoy, can set up a convoy in 2 minutes and send that convoy away. In the past, it was like a 30-minute ordeal, man. So again, we're trying to simplify the game, have better use case for the game, reduce the oversupply of the token, and diminish drastically the production of the token, if that makes sense.
Hell yeah. Sounds like a straight shot, a good plan forward and well defined as well.
Yeah, man, we're looking forward to all these changes, man. I'm excited. Again, I know not everybody likes change, and there's one thing even us Marines, right? Uh, Humans, we're creatures of habit, right? And we're used to doing something a certain way. And when someone comes in and actually like changes the way we do things, sometimes that could come, abrasive, and people get upset and things like that. But people need to understand that as a project owner, I am not going to make a change to damage the project. I'm always going to make a change for the better of the community. One of the things that I mentioned to you offline is that with my experience, with the art planet and those other projects that rug pull like JTG and all those things, Journey to Godhood, which I was big on into Journey to Godhood. My main concern was that whatever I did as a project was to always have the community first, because the community can make or break a project. It is as simple as that. And if you don't,
most important factor.
yeah, and if you don't put your community first always, then you are in the wrong business. You are doing. I don't know why you're here. You shouldn't even be here if you don't put your community first. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm making Dragon Memories not because I want to make a shit ton of money off of it or anything like that, but because I have this really cool world and I want to share it with people. And that's where it comes from. Like, I've got this awesome ass world, and I think you would have fun in it. Come join us.
Yeah, and this is the thing though. As we're making these changes, people have to realize that all the drops that we have been doing, they've been in NKFE. Mind you, every single NKFE that's collected from those drops, guess what I'm doing with it? I'm burning it. I'm not keeping any of it. A percentage of it goes to like the junior and executive NFTs, which is an exclusive NFT that we had for like early founders. And they get a percentage of every drop. They get a percentage of secondary sales and things like that, right? So that's the only NKFE that's being kept from the drops. Everything else, I'm publicly burning it and putting screenshots so everybody can see how much NKFE I'm burning. So if I was doing this for a profit, I would be making changes and dropping stuff in wax so I could pocket the money. I'm not. I'm actually dropping everything in the native token of the game, because that's the whole way that we can actually. That's the only way that we can actually recoup some oversupply that's out there, by making changes that kind of require new drops, and those drops are being done in our game token, so that we can actually cut that supply that's out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Gotta
So
have sinks.
yeah.
Have you played any Diablo 4?
You know what? I played it one time because my brother got me into it. But honestly, man, I never got into it, man. I never got into Diablo 4. Never got into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. I never. Are you big into Diablo?
Diablo. That first question. What was the first game that you ever fell in love with?
Yeah.
Diablo.
Diablo.
D&D for me. I'm big into the fantasy. I have not touched Diablo 4 yet because I just don't have the money for it, and my computer would not run it. Like,
yeah. No, I got you. My brother Raymond, he's big into the fantasy genre. He was always into Final Fantasy. He's probably owned and played all Final Fantasy games. He did play Diablo, like I mentioned. He was trying to get me into it, but I really didn't get into it. Me, I'm more of a real time strategy. That's what I like. That's why I like the Ages of Empires, the Command and Conquer. And when it comes to like the platform, like PS5 stuff like that, the only game that I really play in that is The Division, and then Assassin's Creed. I play a lot of Assassin's Creed, and I play The Division. I still play The Division 2 right now. And here and there, we got into some of those like free games that if you get the, well, they're not free because nothing is free in life, right? If you buy the PS Plus, subscription, there's some mini games that come on there, and we were playing something called For the King, which is kind of like a fantasy game like that. So that's probably the latest fantasy game that I play is called For the King. So that was actually pretty cool.
Cool. So where are you located currently?
Man, all over the United States, but I am home based out of California. My company, which is we changed the name, by the way. When we first started, we used to be called Cram NFT, and the CRAM in Cram, had a period right after each letter. It was based on me, my two brothers, and my cousin. That's when we created the company, and kind of Nifty Kicks started with a group of 4 of us. Since they kind of left everything to me, and I had issues getting, honestly, a business account established in the U.S. with the name Cram NFT. I went to Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, U.S. Bank, and the Cram NFT always like closed the doors on me, believe it or not. People might not realize that. Because a lot of the banks, they consider NFTs and crypto as gambling, right? So, we can open up a business account. So, I told you before that I was a lot into pack breaks. So I have my own little. I'm not active on that anymore. I used to be. I have my own store on eBay called Get Right Games, where I used to resell some of the cards, because some of the times that I got into breaks, you don't always get the team that you're rooting for, right? There was breaks that you did buy the Yankees or the Bills, but there was a lot of breaks that were random, right? You pay for a random spot, and they randomize other teams, and whatever team you got, right? So I got a lot of cards, excuse me, from other teams. So I opened up my own eBay store, and I resell a lot of the cards on there on eBay. So I decided to change the name of the company, since it's by myself now, from Cram NFT to Get Right Games LLC. So my company is based out of Florida, because that's where Cram NFT is based out of anyways, because my brothers, obviously, they live in Florida, and I've been on the steps to actually move back to Florida anyway. So that's the goal, to either move to Florida, or I might end up in Ohio. I don't know, but I will be moving from California within the next year. So I wanted to base the company out of Florida, because that's where my brothers were at anyways, and we use my brother's address for the company address. So I'm based out of California. I would say a week to 2 weeks out of the month, but I'm mostly on the East Coast 2 to 3 weeks out of the month, either in Florida, Ohio, or just all over. Like right now, I'm in Austin, Texas right now at a conference, and this is like the lunch break. So I'm like, this was perfect timing. We set this thing up during my lunch break, but I'm on a conference here for one of our vendors that work with a company that I work for. But I'm in Austin, Texas this week. Next week, I'm back in California. The week after that, I'm back in Ohio. The week after that, I'm in Canada, because my company covers Canada as well. So I'm always traveling, man. I'm always on the run. Always on the run.
Hell yeah, that's definitely a good way to see a lot of the world.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, you know how it is. I got used to it in the Marines, visiting different countries. So travel is not, it's actually it's not easy on the family, right? Yeah. But like sometimes they get to travel with me. Like 2 weeks ago when I was in Orlando, the family went to Orlando with me, and while I was at work in seminar and teaching classes to the team members of my company, they were at the pool. We had a lazy river in the hotel that we're staying at, so they went to the pool. They went to Disneyland. They went to Universal Studios. So all of us got to go to medieval times, right? I'm big into medieval times. I'll tell you that. I do like games in medieval times. I do play a game in the computer called Knights of Honor. I should definitely mention that. So I'm big into medieval times. So we went to this dinner thing that is themed like night stuff like that. It's called Medieval Times in Orlando. So that was great, man. You get to eat with your hands. They do a show where they do the jousting, and they actually fighting with swords while you're eating your dinner. So that was pretty awesome. So sometimes they get to come with me on my travels. Not all the time. Obviously, when school is in session, they can because my daughter's in school. But normally my two older kids, they're one is in Florida. They're both in college. One in Florida, one in Virginia. But the family gets to chat with me sometimes. So that was a good fun times 2 weeks ago for sure.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. And next time y'all are over here in the cock of America, I'll let you.
Yeah, where you at?
Also here in the Orlando area.
Oh, you're in the Orlando area. Shit, if I would have known that earlier, man, right. I would have hit you up. But you know what? I'm always going to Orlando, man. Have you ever gone to that medieval times dinner?
I have not actually. I've driven past it a number of times.
I'm gonna make this deal here publicly, man. Next time I'm in Orlando traveling for work, I'm gonna give you at least. Normally I have like a week heads up. I'm gonna give you a week heads up, man, and we're gonna go enjoy the dinner together, bro. It's a nice event, bro. I would definitely go have a few beers there and go watch go eat dinner at Medieval Times for sure.
Sounds like a plan. And you said you're on your lunch break, and are you still good to go for a little bit? Like when is your?
No, I'm good. Okay. I'm good.
Just wanted to make sure I'm respectful of your time and.
No, I'm good, man. I am good.
So out of wax projects, not including your own, what are you having the most fun with lately?
Nova Pangea.
Nova. I've got my Nova screen up. What realm are you?
As a matter of fact, man, I'm in a couple of realms, and as a matter of fact, I missed. I know they have that contest going on, but I've been so busy with work that I've been missing some of my shift. Right, it's changing the shifts, but I am. You can look me up in Space D5. I'm also in Shadow D7, and I just started like upgrading some buildings. Actually, I'm almost done upgrading to level 5 buildings in Water District. But the Water District, I'm in Water D6, but that I'm using just for rent, right? I'm just gonna leave that open for people to actually work in those buildings, right? So one of the issues that I was having is that I had extra buildings in space, but then you know how you put your buildings for other people to work on your buildings, and but then you actually go send your skilled workers to work. It automatically, when you're doing the bulk action, it was automatically sending guys, skilled workers to my buildings that are already set for rent for other people to come to work in them. So I decided to switch some stuff with Franklin, my community manager, and then I bought some other stuff with the credits, right, creators credits, and now I have like a setup in D6 water where it's going to be strictly just for other people to come work in my buildings, and then Shadow D7, and then and Space D5. Those are my actual productions, man. D5, I'm fully level 5. All my production buildings, not my residency. Residencies they're level 7. But I have all of my buildings level 5. And after this contest going on, I gotta level up all my buildings to level 5 in Shadow as well.
Fuck, I'm so far behind. I've got 2 buildings in the 6 workers in Space 9. And
Space 9, okay.
All my workers are level 2. All my buildings are level 1.
Got you. Yeah, I went deep in and you know I was in OpenGeo when it first started, but I was also at that time what's the other game that was huge at that time, and then I don't know what those guys were thinking, man. They abandoned a game that everybody was into. Man, I can't even think of the game now. It's not Animal World, Animal Farm, or what's the name of the game, man? Shit, I can't even think of it right now. I deleted their Farmers World. So I went ahead like an idiot, and I traded all my novel sketch packs that I bought and the sketch cards and my museum cards for for the chainsaws and all the tools, right, that were in Farmers World. So I was heavy into Farmers World, and I kind of abandoned Novo Pangea. So I just got back into Novo about a month ago, and I just went in pretty deep, man. I just started buying a bunch of stuff. So a bunch of packs. I got into their packs breaks that they normally have. One of the breaks that they have, I think I bought all the spots that they had. So I had all those creator credits, and I was able to build my realm like that. So
nice. Yeah, I was pretty excited when I was able to upgrade all my dudes to level 2, and then now it's like, well, actually no, because now I can't use my buildings.
Yes, because that your buildings and your labors have to be the same level, which is one of the things that we are implementing in Nifty Kicks, man. And I share that with Creati, and I share that with my community manager Franklin, that I have my notes, and those were my notes as well. Like, hey, a building has to have a laborer, so we're kind of doing something similar in Nifty Kicks as well. So yeah, for sure. I love Noble, man. Noble is actually a pretty good game. The community, I love the community because it's actually how the Nifty Kicks community is and how I envision our community continuing to be. So it's very easy to get into a game that the communities are very alike. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And again, community is everything. I don't understand some of these projects that are out there that just treat their community like shit, or just fucking dump on them, or you're not allowed to go in and ask questions without people starting to fucking snap at you and whatnot. It's like, how do you expect to take off? How do you expect to actually do anything or get anywhere like that? And it's always heartening to see somebody who actually is more cognizant of the role that the community plays within the project, and is more conciliatory and considerate of that relationship.
Yeah, no, for sure, I agree.
So out of everywhere that you've been, where is your favorite spot?
You're talking about the entire world?
Yeah.
Like I said, Spain. World of Spain was actually probably my favorite, just because obviously I speak Spanish. Number one, beautiful country. More interesting spot though was probably Israel. Just training with the Israeli Marines and the Israeli Army. Those guys are pretty badass. The British Royal Marines pretty badass too. But I want to say as far as the country goes, probably Spain. I mean, I haven't been everywhere, but Spain was actually probably has been like one of my favorite spots to actually visit. I still want to take a tour of Great Britain though and Europe. I told you I'm big into medieval times, into like as a kid I watched the what is it King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right, the cartoons. So I want to like take a tour of like all the castles like in Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's one of that's on my bucket list that I want to do, and I know a lot of them have been turned into like hotels and stuff like that. So that's one of the things that I still on my bucket list that I want to do.
hell yeah, that would definitely be awesome, and I'm of a similar mindset. I've been telling my girl since as long as we've been together, and like one of my goals, I want to build a castle on a mountain. Like I want to be on a 10-degree or greater slope at least 10,000 feet with stone walls at least 10 foot tall and 10,000 rounds of ammo. That's the plan for defensibility, because shit is hitting the fan.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding. That's one of the things that I love about Florida, man. All my weapons I bought in Florida, because California, I bought one weapon in California and I had to wait like 60, and I was still in the Marines when I bought that weapon. And I bought it from the PX on the base in Camp Pendleton. And I had to wait 60 days to get my gun that I bought.
60 days on base?
60 days wait, on base. And then after that, if I wanted to buy an additional gun, I had to wait 6 months to order another gun, because that's the I don't know. I mean, California just have way too many rules when it comes to owning weapons. And I'll be honest with you, both my rifles that I have, my AR-15s that I have people call AR-15s whatever. I have an M4 and an AR-15. I guess they're both the same. But both of those I bought them in Florida. And I guarantee you that they're both illegal in California. But because they're registered in Florida, I'm okay. I still go to the shooting range and go shoot them, obviously. But I guarantee you, both of those weapons, they're illegal in California. But I'm not a wrestler. I know I live in California, but I still have Florida license and all that stuff. So, which technically I should be changing that now that I'm not on active duty. Technically, you're supposed to change your driver's license. But since I'm actually moving back to Florida, I haven't even done that. So, but yeah, California is very strict, man. Very, very strict.
Yeah.
Very strict.
Also,
I mean, active duty Marine, I had to wait 60 days to get my weapon.
That's just insane.
That's crazy. I know.
That is fucking insane.
Marine background. I don't even have a speeding ticket on my record, and I still had to wait 60 days because that is the California stature waiting period when you are a first time gun buyer in California. Whatever that was, I'm like, okay, fine. I wanted a gun. You know how it is, tax free on the base. So I was like, fine, I'll buy it. I'll wait the 60 days. Not like I need it, you know what I mean? But 60 days. And then when I saw the M4 that I wanted to buy and I asked about it, she's like, well, you have to wait 6 months from the time that we give you your current gun that's on hold before you can actually come in and place a new order. And then that weapon will have to sit here for another 60 days. I'm like, are you kidding me? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay, never mind. So I actually ordered most of my stuff with online, and I get it shipped to my brother's house, or I get it shipped to if it has a serial number on it, like obviously your weapon serial number, like the lower receiver for a gun, you have to ship it to a gun shop, like a gun, gun shop, and then you go and then you show your license, proof of residency in Florida, and they give it to you. But if you buy anything like the upper receiver, anything that's not serialized, you could ship that directly to your house. But it has to be a state that it's doable. You know what I mean? I couldn't ship that to California.
Yeah, that's I'm still just trying to wrap my mind around 2 fucking months.
Yeah.
Like that's
man.
ridiculous for an
Crazy.
active duty Marine on base. Like that's just asinine.
It
I'm
is,
sure
man.
you've had some really cool toys that you got to play with in terms of active duty, being on the infantry side. What's your favorite weapon that you fired?
The 50 cal sniper rifle.
The Sasser? Nice.
Yep,
yeah,
that's that.
Oh, yeah. Sasser's definitely a lot of fun, a lot of kickback. My favorite was the Mark 19.
Yeah, Mark
especially
19 is pretty badass too. Yeah,
truck-mounted Mark 19.
yeah, they're pretty badass. They're pretty badass. But I mean, it's just for me, it's just the Sandman, the sniper rifle, and you know how it is. We always shot from like 500 yards, and to get to shoot that rifle from 1,000 yards out and hit the target, and just the noise that it make. I mean, that thing destroys the target when it hits the target.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it's insane, man. So that was definitely a fun weapon.
absolutely. And then of
No,
course,
don't get me wrong though. In Iraq and Afghanistan, though, my favorite weapon, which I got to carry all the time, was the M203 grenade launcher under the M4. So that was a pretty fun weapon to fire too.
yeah, yeah, 203s are definitely nice, and that's what I love about the Mark 19 is that it's the 203 only faster.
2 or 3 round, exactly. Just pretty much automatic.
Yeah. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah, yeah, or semi-automatic, if you want to call it, but definitely a lot of firepower for sure.
So much fucking fun. And so versatile too. So many different rounds you can put in that motherfucker. Like a 50 cal, yeah, you can shoot through anything, but
Yeah.
that's all you can do. It's just shoot
No,
through
that's
anything.
true. That's true. The Mark 19, man, you had the different rounds and they're color coded too, so you knew what round it was. They're pretty cool. I have to say the Mark 19 is a pretty cool weapon. I never got to use them a lot, so I didn't. I can't say that's my favorite. The 50, the sniper rifle, we did have obviously at least. Not all the time, but we always had a sniper embedded into our fire team and our squad, you know, and several in our platoon. So whenever we went to the range for everybody to qualify, you know, being the platoon sergeant, you know, I got to shoot those weapons a lot. So it was my
Nice.
favorite weapon too. Yep. Yep.
That's definitely some experiences that most people don't get, and that's some of my fondest memories of the Corps is, you know, some of the weapons that we got to you know, qualify with, train on, of course the camaraderie with you know, fellow devil dogs, and it's like I joined knowing full well I was going to be going to war, because I was in boot camp for the first anniversary of 9/11. It's like there's no question in my mind, there's no way in hell that I'm not going to war. But I had already made my decision before that happened. Like, I had already depped in and everything like that. So, it's definitely a road that's got its own kind of hazards and pitfalls. But is it definitely a lot of fun and a lot of really cool experiences that you're just not going to get anywhere else. So I do still... I've got some bitterness towards the Corps and the military and whatnot, because things did not work out very well for me, and it's unfortunately kind of set me on a path of significant struggle throughout life. But
No, I get that, man. I cannot. I'll be honest with you, man. I cannot complain. You know, I had a 23-year career. I had a good career in the Marines. But I'll be honest with you, one thing that I learned towards the end is that, and I learned towards the end, I always knew that it's all about the Marine Corps, right? Yes, the individual Marine makes the Marine Corps, but not one Marine drives the Marine Corps. That makes sense. And even at 23 years or 22 years at that point, when I made my decision to retire, right? I think I told you the story, right? My son was earlier. I said my son was a junior in high school, and I went up to the monitor. You know what a monitor is, right? You're a Marine, right? I went up to the monitor. For those of you that don't know, the monitor is like the person that kind of like is, I wouldn't call it a puppet master, but he controls where everybody gets positioned within the Marine Corps, right? You're going to be in North Carolina, you're going to be in Japan, you're going to be in Hawaii, you're going to be in California. They move people around based on what they always said the needs of the Marine Corps, right? So when that scenario presented itself, right? 22 years of service, you figure, okay, the Marine Corps will be lenient to listen to this guy's request, right? So I requested to stay put in California and send somebody like, hey, find me a spot as a sergeant major somewhere in Camp Pendleton, which has tons of units, right? I could have went to different units in there. I was told the same thing that the Marines have been told, whether you were private or you were sergeant major. Hey, the needs of the Marine Corps comes first. If you cannot take the duty assignment in Hawaii, then I suggest you retire, because you can no longer feed the needs of the Marine Corps. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little bitter at that time. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? They're right. I gotta go. if I cannot do my job as a Marine, then it's time for me to go. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I left the Marine Corps a little bit bitter because I could still be a Marine right now if that had not happened. But at the end of the day, like I said, it was a decision that I wasn't prepared to do. But I also don't regret making the decision to say, you know what, you're right. I'm retiring. Here's my papers. Send me out the door. I don't regret the times that I had in there, but I will say that my exit wasn't as glamorous as I expected it to be. Don't get me wrong. I still got a retirement ceremony. I still got pretty cool parade and stuff like that in the parade deck and all that stuff. That was all great, but it was also some bitterness to it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not how you envision things going. It's not that you're drastically unhappy about it, but it's a departure from what you had thought originally. And like I had lofty goals in my mind and drastically unrealistic, but I was still 17 when I graduated boot camp, so I had dreams of being the youngest Master Gunny in Marine Corps history.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I was 17 as well, man. And I was actually I don't have the picture on me, but next time I'll probably send it to you so you can see. I actually came out in the newspaper in Paris Island. I was the youngest Marine present that year, and I actually got to do the cake cutting ceremony in November in the parade deck in Paris Island.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that was in I would say November 1995. I think that was. Yeah, November 1995. Yep, crazy. Yep. Crazy stuff, man.
I think
Crazy stuff.
We're actually still up in Canada in 95? Or maybe just moved down to Detroit. No, I think I was actually still up in Canada in 95.
So, Rock, I have 8 minutes before I have to get back. I don't know how much more time we're supposed to be on stream, but unfortunately, I just got texted from my boss, and he's like, "Hey, I need you down here in 8 minutes." So I'm like, "All right, sounds good."
Gotcha.
So,
well, in that case, to be respectful of your time, I will let you go ahead and have some time with the audience. Whatever you would like to say, let them know where to find you. NiftyKicks.io, not NiftyKicks.com, because I did try to go there earlier.
Yeah, they're gonna NiftyKicks.com. They're gonna end up going to what I'm hoping to be one of our partners right in the future. They're that's the shoe distributor that I was talking to you about. That we're gonna probably put a link on a landing page. They're gonna put our link on their page. So hopefully we create some traffic for both, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome both ways.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, for the audience, man, I will say thank you for having me. For you having me here on the stream. I will say head out to our Discord, man. We have a great community there. Right now it's a little bit in turmoil. I'm a straight shooter just because the changes that we're making are not popular with everybody. But at the end of the day, I got to look out for the larger community, and I got to look out for the project, right, as a whole. Because if I don't take care of the project, I mean, I could have done something different, right? I could have just said, you know what, the project sucks. There's no movement on the token. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm gonna stop spending my money on development. We're just gonna let it be. But that's not how I am. I want to see this game be successful, and I want to see that the money that I'm spending on the game to be going towards bettering the game for the community and making an impact, in the wax space, right? So that's what we're making, the changes that we're making. But I say head out to the community. Some great folks there, man. The community is so good, man. They'll give you a lot of people that give out their NFTs. Like, hey, here, you haven't played, you don't have this. Here's some NFTs, man, so you can start playing. That's the type of community that Nifty Kicks is, and I love it. That's one of the reasons why I'm still investing my money into it, because the community gives me that drive to continue to do good for them, because they do so much good in the community themselves, man. So I think it's a great game. A lot of great things to come at the end of this month with these new changes. Then in the fourth quarter, we are talking about PvP and developing the PvP part of the game. But that may change into kind of that game that I told you that I'm writing the white paper for right now. That I think is going to be crazy to have another game. Separate game, which I'm gonna have to go through the whitelisting process, but they're also gonna be using the NKFE that's being produced in Nifty Kicks. So I think that's gonna drive Nifty Kicks to a higher level with a new game that people are gonna actually flock to, because it's gonna be a very catchy game. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff, man, in the works. So I think even though we've been out for almost 2 years, everything is fairly very cheap on the secondary, so it's still a good time to come in. Just keep in mind that coming in, you're also going to there's going to be some changes to it. So
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. Y'all heard it here. Thank you very much for joining us, and definitely give Nifty Kicks a check out and a try. I'll be messing with that a little bit later tonight and throughout the day, trying to figure some things out and see what we can get going. And thank you very much, Carlos, for joining us. We will go ahead and post all of your links in the description for the video, so anyone in the audience can know how to find you. Just when you have time, go ahead and send those over to me, like YouTube, whatever else you got. And then, yeah, definitely looking forward to taking a dive into your world and see what we can make happen. And look forward to chatting with you again sometime in the near future.
sounds good, man. Thanks for having me, man. You guys have a good time. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a great night.
All right.
Thank you for watching. As always, I have been Rick. You've been on the mountain, and it has been a wonderful time.